Beatrice O'Malley had always believed in the power of stories. For 40 years, she'd curated them in the dim-lit aisles of the Chicago Public Library's Woodson Regional Branch, recommending dog-eared romances to heartbroken teens and dusty histories to wide-eyed immigrants chasing the American dream. At 73, with silver streaks threading her auburn hair like footnotes in a well-loved book, Beatrice still saw life as a narrative arc, rising action of joys, a climax of trials, and a resolution that, if you turned the page just right, ended in quiet triumph. Her own story had begun in the windy shadow of the Loop, born to Irish immigrants in a walk-up on Halsted Street. Her father, a bricklayer with hands like sandpaper, died when she was 12, leaving her mother to stitch seams at a garment factory until her fingers bled. Beatrice learned early that love wasn't grand gestures, but the steady stitch of sacrifice. She married young to Patrick, a lanky cop with a laugh like thunder, and they built a life in a two-flat in Pilsen. No kids of their own, fate's cruel edit, but they poured their hearts into the strays life handed them. First came Tommy, Patrick's son from a teenage fling, abandoned by his mother at 6. Tommy arrived with a duffel bag and a scowl, all gangly limbs and unspoken rage. Beatrice folded him into their world like a bookmark, teaching him to read The Catcher in the Rye while Patrick tossed a football in the yard. Tommy grew into a man who chased highs in dimly lit bars, his law degree from Beatrice's scrimped savings gathering dust while he bounced between jobs. "Aunt Bea, you're the only one who gets me." And she'd wire him $500 for rent, her library pension stretched thin as onion skin. Then there was Lila, her sister's girl, sharp as a switchblade and twice as unpredictable. Lila's mother, Beatrice's wild younger sib, had OD'd in a Wicker Park squat when Lila was 15, leaving behind a daughter with dreams bigger than her backpack. Beatrice and Patrick took her in, paying for community college tuition from their joint savings, the kind of money meant for their own nest egg. Lila blossomed into a fashionista, sketching dresses that whispered of Paris runways, but her path veered into debt. $20,000 for sewing machines, $15,000 for a pop-up shop that fizzled in the pandemic. "Bea, you're my fairy godmother," she'd coo, air kissing her cheek before vanishing into nights of velvet ropes and velvet lies. Patrick passed 5 years ago. A heart attack on a routine beat, leaving Beatrice with a shoebox of love letters tied in red ribbon and a hollow echo in their flat. She kept curating, for the library, for the family photos on the mantle, for the belief that blood and chosen bonds were the same ink. Valentine's Day was sacred, a holiday she'd always marked with heart-shaped cookies dusted in pink sugar, recipes from Patrick's ma back in County Kerry. This year, 2025, she'd planned meticulously. Cookies for Tommy's surprise gathering at his Logan Square loft, the letters for everyone to read aloud like a family toast. "To love that endures," she'd say, her voice steady as the L train rumbling past. The wind off Lake Michigan bit like regret as Beatrice stepped off the blue line at California Avenue, her arms laden with Tupperware and a wool coat too thin for February's bite. Tommy's building loomed, a converted warehouse with graffiti murals that screamed youth, while Beatrice's knees whispered age. She buzzed up, the door clicking open to the scent of craft beer and takeout lo mein. Voices spilled down the stairwell, Lila's trill, Tommy's guffaw, and others. Cousins, friends, the blended tribe Beatrice had helped forge. "Bea, you made it!" Tommy enveloped her in a bear hug that smelled of IPA and aftershave, his stubble scraping her cheek. At 42, he was still boyish, his hair tousled like he'd just rolled out of a wrong decision. "Come on, party's just starting. Lila's got the playlist, old school Sinatra for you." The loft was a fever dream of exposed brick and Edison bulbs, fairy lights strung like heartstrings across the rafters. Lila, 32 and radiant in a crimson jumpsuit that hugged her like a second skin, swooped in with a flute of Prosecco. "Auntie Bea! Oh my God, those cookies smell divine! You're a witch in the kitchen!"
Her hug was perfumed, Chanel No. 5 on credit, and Beatrice basked in it, setting her burdens on the reclaimed wood island cluttered with charcuterie and half-empty bottles. The crowd milled, Tommy's bar buddies, Lila's influencer friends snapping selfies, a smattering of great nieces and nephews chasing each other with plastic cupids. Beatrice circulated like a librarian on rounds, pressing cookies into palms, listening to Have Her Dreams. "How's the new exhibit at the library?" a niece asked, and Beatrice launched into tales of forbidden love and Victorian novels, her eyes lighting up. For a moment, the room felt like home, a chapter where she was the narrator, not the footnote. Then Tommy clapped his hands, the sound sharp as a gavel. "All right, fam, time for the main event. Valentine's Roast, B edition." Laughter rippled, good-natured at first, and Beatrice chuckled, assuming it was the light-hearted ribbing of family lore. Tommy dimmed the lights, projecting his phone to the wall via Bluetooth. "Hit it, Lila." The video flickered to life, grainy home movies spliced with stock footage, a mock trailer scored to a cheesy rom-com tune. It opened with baby Tommy in Beatrice's arms, her younger self cooing over a library book. Cut to Lila's first runway sketch, Beatrice pinning fabric with steady hands. Narration boomed, Tommy's voiceover dripping sarcasm. In a world where love means never saying you're sorry, meet B. O'Malley, the heart stealer extraordinaire. The room howled as clips accelerated. Beatrice, wiring money from her phone, filmed slyly last Christmas, her face blurred but unmistakable. Exaggerated reenactments of her meddling calls. "Tommy, have you paid that parking ticket?" with cartoon wallets flying open. "B's been stealing our hearts and our wallets." A pie chart's fun. Aunt B's bailouts, 40% bar tabs, 30% fashion fails, 20% emergencies, 10% cookies. Generous rounding. The punchline landed with a graphic. A safe cracking open, coins spilling, captioned, "Time to lock the vault." Beatrice's smile froze, a rime of sugar on her lips. The laughter swelled, Tommy slapping his knee, Lila wiping tears of mirth. "Oh, B, your face, priceless." A great niece, barely 10, giggled from behind a pillow, not grasping but feeding off the energy. Someone passed pamphlets, slick trifolds from Sunset Meadows Assisted Living, where golden years shine. Tucked under the video remote like an afterthought. "We figured you'd love this, Aunt B," Lila whispered, sliding one her way. "It's got a library on site. Cozy, right? No more stairs for those knees." The screen faded to black, the room's roar echoing in Beatrice's ears like feedback from a dropped mic. She stood, the heart-shaped tin of cookies suddenly leaden in her hands. "A joke," she murmured, the word tasting like ash. Tommy slung an arm around her. "Lighten up, B. It's Valentine's. Roasts are tradition. Remember when we did Patrick's? He loved it." Patrick's roast had been gentle barbs about his cooking disasters, not this ledger of her life reduced to punchlines and pie charts. Beatrice's vision blurred, not with tears, but with a clarity sharp as shattered glass. She saw it all. The $8,000 for Tommy's bar certification that led nowhere. The $12,000 for Lila's launch party that tanked in a recession. The countless Venmos for just this once, her pension vanishing into their ether. And the letters, Patrick's words, "My B, you're the plot twist that saved me. Now props in a farce." "I need air," she said, voice a thread. The crowd parted with awkward claps, "Love you, B," trailing her like confetti. Outside, the Chicago cold clawed at her coat, the L screeching overhead like a laugh she couldn't join. She walked 2 blocks to a bench by a frozen fountain, the pamphlets crumpling in her fist. Sunset Meadows, as if her sun were setting, as if she were a burden to be brochured away. Beatrice O'Malley had curated other people's stories for decades. Now she'd rewrite her own. Back in the flat that night, the love letters unfurled like battle flags. Patrick's script faded but fierce. February 14th, 1982. "B love, in this city of steel hearts, you're my warm ink. Don't ever let them dim you." She traced the loops, remembering their first Valentines, stolen chocolates in Grant Park, snowflakes melting on lashes. No grand fortune then, just grit. But fortune had come, sly as a plot device, in the form of her brother, Edmund. Ed the black sheep, childless and nomadic, had roamed from the Chicago stockyards to Silicon Valley startups, amassing a quiet empire in bonds and treasuries. No wife, no heirs, until his will, read in a stuffy lawyer's office 2 years after Patrick's death. "To Beatrice, my anchor," it began, bequeathing $400,000 in a diversified portfolio, municipals yielding steady, blue chips climbing like ivy. Beatrice had wept then, not for the money, but for the brother she'd half forgotten, the one who'd slipped her a 10 spot for books when their ma was sick. She touched none of it. lived on her $2,800 monthly pension, mending hems for neighbors, volunteering story hours at the library. The inheritance sat, compounding in the shadows, a secret spine to her spine. Tommy and Lila knew nothing. Why burden them with old people money? Instead, she dipped into her own pockets, convinced love meant leading with your wallet open. But the roast replayed in her mind, stealing our hearts and our wallets. The hypocrisy burned. Who had stolen? Who had given until her seams frayed? By dawn, Beatrice was at her desk, the one Patrick had built from pallet wood, a laptop humming like a co-conspirator. She logged into the brokerage app, Fidelity, Edmund's Choice, with its crisp dashboards and zero-fee trades. The balance glowed. $412,347.82, up 8% since last quarter, dividends reinvested like unspoken promises. She didn't hesitate. Liquidation orders flew. Sell the GE shares, $45,000, the tips ladder, $120,000, the muni bonds, $150,000. By noon, the funds cleared to her checking, $400,000 wired, fees a pittance. Next, the travel site. New Orleans called. A whim born of Mardi Gras posters in the library's travel section, beads, brass bands, a city that throbbed with reinvention. February 18th, 4 days hence, round trip from O'Hare to MSY. Economy, but with an aisle seat for her lengthening legs, $312. She'd extend it, she decided. Why not? Life's too short for round trips when you've got a plot twist. But first, the reckoning. Beatrice raided her stationery drawer, pulling cream envelopes and her Mont Blanc pen, a gift from Ed. The care package took shape. For Tommy, an envelope fat with printouts, bank statements redacted for privacy but tallied in bullet points. Bar tabs and startups, $23,450, 2018 to 2024. Car repairs after that DUI, $4,200. Law school application fees unused, $1,800. Holiday loans forgiven, $7,600. A note, Tommy, my boy, your heart's bigger than your tab. But love isn't a blank check. Find your story without mine underwriting it. All my love, always, B. For Lila, sketches Beatrice had saved annotated with costs. Fashion school tuition, 2 semesters, $18,000. Pop-up lease and supplies, $22,500. NYC networking trips, $9,300. That atelier space you sublet, $5,000 and counting. Dearest Lila, your designs dazzle like your spirit, but seams hold when you stitch your own. Wear these sketches close. They're your runway now. Kisses, B. For the family group, via email, the modern missive, she attached the roast video, downloaded from Tommy's cloud, hacked with a library-forged password, B loves you 123. Subject, Hearts Heal Solo. Body, last night was a page-turner I didn't see coming. Enclosed, our greatest hits. I've turned mine. Off to NOLA for beads and breasts. If you want more chapters, start with respect, not roasts or pamphlets. Your narrator, Beatrice. She sealed the envelopes with wax stamps, hearts of course, and left them on the kitchen table, cookies arranged like sentinels. The flat felt lighter as she packed. 2 sundresses from the thrift bin, Patrick's old fedora for flair, the love letters in a Ziploc for rainy cab rides. A final sweep, library card surrendered, they'd understand. Plants to Mrs. Kowalski next door. Water them with stories, dear. O'Hare was a zoo of hurried hearts. Couples entwined at gates, solos nursing lattes. Beatrice queued at security, her carry-on light as hope. The pamphlet from last night peeked from her purse. She tore it into confetti, letting it flutter into a trash bin like discarded drafts. Gate C17, New Orleans, 1:45 p.m. departure. She settled with a library paperback, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, about sisters in war, and let the words pull her under. The flight was turbulence-free, a rarity, and by 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, no, Louisiana time danced its own jig. Beatrice stepped into Louis Armstrong's humid embrace. Bourbon Street beckoned via cab, $28 from the airport, the driver regaling her with tales of last year's parades. First time share, you'll fit right in. Everybody's a king or a queen here. Her hotel was the Monteleone, a splurge, $189 per night, but the carousel bar spun stories of Hemingway and Faulkner, ghosts in the ether. Check-in smooth, room with a balcony overlooking Royal Street's iron lace. Beatrice unpacked, hanging dresses like flags of truce, then ventured out. Dusk painted the quarter in gaslight gold, jazz spilling from doorways like spilled